And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Sabir Hussain from Chennai, India. He is the director of the Indian Society for UFO Studies and a researcher for more than 30 years. Sabir, thank you for joining us. And to my new viewers from India, Vanakkam.
Vanakkam. It's a pleasure meeting you. Yes, and your viewers.
Well, Sabir, how did you get interested in UFOs?
Jeff, actually, I'm from Chennai. This is the capital of Tamil Nadu, okay? The third most important city in India. After Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai is the most important city. I am 56 years old. For the last 35 years, since college, I have been interested in the UFOs. You can say my brother got this book, Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the God, when I was in college. That only started it. Yeah. So I was following it, and then the satellite television came to India, and then the History Channel and National Geographic Channel, they showed one or two programs. But it is around YouTube, that was the time I could actually get all the information I want. Because all these top UFO researchers put their videos there, and then I could get a good picture of that. That was from 2004.
Now, you've had your own UFO sighting, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. Around a few years back, I had two UFO sightings. I was in the terrace of my house, okay? And then one UFO flew. Actually, I have read what this guy, Kenneth Arnold, who coined the term UFOs, flying saucers, right? Because he said he saw 9 of them gliding. He didn't say they were flying. It is as if they were gliding. That's what he said, like saucers. That is how you got the name flying saucer. But this is what I saw. I saw one almost like a triangle shape or a wing shape. It was not going. It was simply gliding. Then I understood what exactly he meant. Okay. But by the time I could take my cell phone, it's over. And then another time in the night, I saw one almost like a square shape. It was around 7:30, but I could make out the shape. You don't get square shaped clouds. This was moving left and right for a few seconds. And then it left. This is my personal sighting. Okay. And unfortunately, there was nobody with me, or I didn't take any picture. So you can't call this a very strong sighting.
So after that, did you start releasing UFO videos?
Yes. This UFO videos was started in 2023, August. Okay. And that was a very interesting incident, because it's more like a cinema. You see, I've been doing research for more than 30 years, and the last 15 years, I'm completely involved in UFO research, right? I've written 2 books. I made a movie, Accidental UFO Apocalypse. Now, I wanted to release the movie, but nobody in Tamil Nadu knew that there is a guy called Sabir Hussain who's doing research in UFO, okay? So I called this guy, this PRO, public relation officers from movie industry, the promoters. You go and give your product and they will promote it. So I called these guys, 2, 3 of them, and said, look, I want to introduce myself to the people of Tamil Nadu. Okay, I've been doing UFO research. I've made a movie, written 2 books, very important books. What can you do? They said, okay, sir, it will cost you around 200,000 Indian rupees. We will call all the media. You can show them your movie, your trailer, and then you can introduce yourself. Okay. And I asked him, next day, will it come in the newspapers and TV channels? They said, I can't guarantee that. They will come, they will shoot. But next day, whether it comes in the newspapers or TV channels, that depends on the editors. So I said, come on, man, I've already spent a lot of money on this. So if there is no guarantee, but how can I do that? They said, that's how it works. Okay, you are a nobody. So it is very difficult for these newspapers to take notice of you. I said, all right. And then I told my assistant, my team members, look here, I'm doing something for UFOs and aliens, something positive, creating awareness. Okay. So these beings will help me. I told them many times. I believe they will create the circumstances for that. Somehow I felt it here. I told them, let's see what happens. So I was finishing my movie, and then July 23rd, 2023, David Grush, Ryan Graves, they are giving testimony in the US Congress, right? Around 3 days later, in 26th, a retired DGP is a Director General of Police. He's the top police official in a state. This guy is retired few years back. He's got a doctorate. He goes for a walk with his wife near the beach outside Chennai, in an area called Muttukade. Then he looks at the sky. Okay, it's around 5:30 in the evening. Something bright. He sees there is a sun, the moon is here, and then this is something else. And then he slowly takes his latest Apple iPhone he bought a few days back, and then he clicks a few pictures. And then he looks at it, nothing. He left. And then the next day, and one more thing, this gentleman later told me he is also near-death experiencer. More than 25 years back, when he was training for the police,
Wow.
he went through a near-death experience. Okay? That was more than 25 years ago. Now he's retired. So this guy gets the idea, let me zoom it, enlarge the picture. And then he zooms it, he sees around 4 objects flying in formation. He doesn't know what to make of it. But I have written more than 35 UFO articles in Indian Express and Deccan Chronicle. These are 2 leading English newspapers in India. Okay? I've written articles for a few years. He had read them. So now he gets my name. He calls a media person and tells him, I'd like to speak to Sabir Hussain about this. So this newspaper guy calls me. He says, sir, this is what happened. The former DGP has taken a picture. He wants you to authenticate it. I said, okay. Let him send me the picture. I will see it. And then I will ask him a few questions. Based on this reply, I will give you the verdict. All right. So I speak to him. He sends me the picture. The 4 objects flying in formation. Now what do? I got 2 good friends in America, Captain Robert Salas and Giorgio Pisenza. He's a civilian advisor for Peru Air Force, UFO advisor. So I consult these guys. They said, yeah, you know something? On July 23rd, when they were testifying before the American Congress, some Air Force pilot from England Air Force Base took a picture of 4 UFOs flying in formation. So that became a big controversy, right? So they already taken pictures like that all over the world. Now this appears to be UFOs flying in formation. So I said, okay. I told the police official, let's say I'll give you 80%, because after seeing this, you didn't contact the airport or the nearest Air Force base and try to get any information. No, you just saw, you clicked a picture. So I think 80% I can say this is a real UFO picture. That's all. He said, okay, thank you. He called a newspaper guy and he told him. Now, because he was a former DGP, not some ordinary civilian or a police constable, he's a top police official. Immediately, the newspaper guys called me. Are you Sabir Hussain? Yeah. Did you authenticate? I said, yes. Based on what? What is your qualification? I said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've given a 140-page report to the Supreme Court of India. Oh, okay. Next day, they put it in the newspaper. Then another guy. Everybody said, I want to speak to you. I want to speak to you. We want an interview. Okay, come. I didn't prepare nothing. Tamil, they asked me questions. I explained to them. That's all. But what happened was, the people who saw these videos, somehow they felt connected. That's what they tell me. When you speak to us, we get the idea that there is some connection. And around 20% of them believe that I'm an alien in human form, which I'm not. Okay. But they go to that extent. And then it spread. Now almost I've given 52 interviews, more than 20 million people have seen. And the beauty is, in some of the videos, I gave my phone number. Immediately people contact me. Every week, 2 to 3 people will call me, send WhatsApp message. I took a picture. I saw a UFO. Extraordinary incidents are going on. Jeff, the beauty is India has got 1,450 million people. India is the largest democracy in the world. Out of that 1,450 million, only 75 million are Tamils. Out of that 75 million, 20 million have seen my videos. So if I'm going to get 2-3 calls every week just for the small number, suppose if these videos are seen in Hindi, 600 million people speak Hindi, and then Telugu, Malayalam, Bengali, Gujarati, all the other major 16 Indian languages. Can you imagine the number of people who will contact me? This is happening all over India, but they don't have somebody to call up and share their experience. Mm-hmm. Today, everybody carries a high definition phone, right? They take pictures, videos. Because most of my interviews on Tamil, people connect with me.
You said that you wrote a 140-page report for the Supreme Court of India. What was that report about?
This is very, very important. You see, people who are following this subject will clearly know that since the 1940s, UFOs and aliens have been very much interested in our nuclear weapons, starting with the United States. Even before they carried out the first nuclear test in the Alamogordo Desert, the Trinity test, 3 months before that, just imagine, 3 months before the test, UFOs were seen for 3 nights going around the Hanford nuclear plant, which produced the plutonium required for the test. This is 1945, January, we are talking about. So these beings know exactly what we are doing. We have turned Albert Einstein E is equal to mc square into a weapon. Okay? So this is going on. People who are following this subject know that for sure. So they have been interactive. My question was, if they are interacting with American and Soviet nuclear weapons, how can we conclude that they won't show the same interest towards Indian and Pakistani nuclear weapons? Since 1998, India and Pakistan conducted tests, six tests each, okay? 1998, March, India conducted tests, then 2 weeks later, Pakistan did that, all right? Now, after that, both of them became on open nuclear power, and a nuclear arms race has started between India and Pakistan. Both of them have more than 5 to 6 kinds of nuclear missiles, both of them. And then they got air-based missiles, sea-based missiles. Pakistan's nuclear program is helped by the Chinese, whose nuclear program in the beginning stage was helped by the Soviet Union, right? That goes to the 50s and 60s and 70s. And the Chinese have even given an actual nuclear warhead, a design called Chick-4, to the Pakistanis. Their relationship is very strong, okay? Very, very strong. As the Pakistani Prime Minister once said, deeper than the ocean, taller than the mountain. You know? So Pakistan is a declared nuclear power with around 160 to 70 weapons. India is a declared nuclear power. India has got no first use policy. Pakistan is ambivalent. India has got no first use policy. China has got no first use policy. And then my question is, since they are building nuclear weapons, maybe these UFOs might show some interest and do the same kind of interaction they did with the American and Russian, appearing, taking control of the missiles, switching on, switching off, interrupting with the communication, interrupting with the radar. If they do such a thing, what do you think the Pakistani and Indian military officials will think, who have absolutely no knowledge about this? And remember, Pakistan and India joined together, okay? There was one country during British rule and that divided. So how would they react? So what did I do was, I wanted to take this to them. So the best way is the Supreme Court of India. So I wrote a 140-page report. And then I consulted my friends in America. Captain Robert Sala said, okay, I'll write a letter to the Chief Justice of India. Because he himself had a personal experience in 1967 when 10 nuclear missiles under his command were temporarily shut down. Okay. Then Louis Elizondo, okay, the director of ATIP. Then Dr. Al Kutaf, he was the lead scientist. And then General Bermudez, General Commander Chamorro, then Hazeltine from Britain. So they all wrote a letter to the Chief Justice of India. So I went to Delhi. I stayed there for a year. And then I filed the report. And my lawyer, the moment I started explaining, he said, Sabir, this is a very, very complicated subject. I can't understand what you're saying. You have been studying this for years. So do one thing. You better appear before the judge and you speak to him. I have never appeared even before a small magistrate court in my entire life. This is directly before the Chief Justice, the Supreme Court of India. And said, okay. So this is the report I gave to them. And then they asked me questions. Okay. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they asked me to speak and then said, dismissed. I said, on what basis, sir? They didn't ask me any questions. Because later I came to know the Indian government, some top officials told me, as far as the Indian government is concerned, this subject is taboo. I said, what do you mean taboo? There are 40 countries, even Peru and Chile, small countries, smaller than my own state, with lesser population, they are doing UFO research. Just because you call it taboo, does it mean the UFOs will disappear? Huh? If the cat closes the eyes, do you think the world will go dark? Do you think they won't come to the Indo-Pak border? They have been regularly coming there. There are so many incidents I have recorded. Okay? So what can I do? I said, all right. I appealed to the Chief Justice. As usual, they have different ways of answering. They will not say yes or no. Instead, they will put you in limbo. Like Leslie Keane had so many years spent with NASA when he went to the American court. But anyway, it is registered. I have been regularly writing letters to every Chief Justice. Look, this is happening. Please do something. Please do something. No reply, except an acknowledgement. All right. And then finally they said, you should approach your political leaders. Okay, I will approach the political leaders. But before that, I have approached ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. There are 18,000 scientists working there. Annual budget is $3 billion. Not one of them has written a paper. I keep writing emails to them, but they don't seem to care. But I said, okay, maybe somebody is guiding me towards this. Let me do this. So based on this report, I also made a movie, a 90 minutes movie, Accidental UFO Apocalypse, with English subtitle, so that people can see and understand what is going on.
Now, you're concerned about solar storms potentially causing problems and even a nuclear war. Can you tell us about the solar storms?
Yes. You see, people who study this UFO literature, we got a group of people called the contactees, people who have been contacted by these beings. And some of these contactees are genuine. Okay, beyond any doubt, they have proved that they are contactees. Like Dolly, Jim Sparks, or Kelly Robertson, who was a guest a few days earlier. Okay, these are genuine contactees. And almost every one of them say the same thing. The sun is becoming unstable. The sun is going to cause you problems. Even we are scared, we are leaving the solar system for safety purpose. They're saying that. Okay, if these people are saying, then there must be something. Let's study that. So I started showing some interest in the sun, okay, what she is doing. I call her she because she is the mother. Without her, no life will live on earth because she is responsible for photosynthesis. Okay, without sun, no photosynthesis. No photosynthesis, no plants, no animals, no humans. That's all, simple. Only microbes can live here. So I call her she. So now, of late, she is becoming very, very unstable. Now, the problem is, compared to Earth, the sun is gigantic. It's like an elephant and a cat. We are the cat, the sun is the elephant. You can see the size comparison. And as a natural process, sun creates its own climate or weather system. One is what you call solar storm. People know about storms on earth, cyclones. In the US, it's called hurricanes. But 99.9% have not heard of solar storms. Are you telling me there are storms in the sun? Yes, there are storms in the sun. There are so many things happening in the sun. One is coronal mass ejection. It's like sun vomiting on a big scale. That is one thing. Then there is solar flare. It's a flash of explosion. And then there is solar radiation events. And apart from that, when these coronal mass ejection come and interact with the Earth's magnetic field, they create geomagnetic storms, which in turn create electricity called geomagnetically induced current of extraordinary amount. Okay, so a lot of things are going on. What I have found out was there is not even one textbook in India, whether in school or college, where they actually teach this, even the basics. They know about the climates on Earth, summer, winter, autumn, spring, rain, flood, everything, cyclone, depression. But this, nothing. So I said, okay, let me study that. Then now, how solar storm is going to affect us? What happened was last year in May 7th and 8th, 35 agencies of the United States government, including NASA, NOAA, Department of Homeland Security, White House officials, US Space Force, Air Force, Army, and so many people, they came together and conducted a tabletop exercise. They were having a discussion. The beauty is 95% of the participants said, we have absolutely no idea there is something called solar storm and this solar storm can affect us. So they were very happy that they had got the basic awareness. And then they said one more thing. The first thing we must do is create awareness. Okay, so now what happened? They released a report, but that is from the perspective of America, and that report is all scientific jargon, okay? These are scientists, so when they write a report, a common person can't read and understand it. So what I did was, I looked at the same solar storm from the perspective of India, the largest democracy, how it is going to affect India, how it is going to affect my state, Tamil Nadu. And most important thing is, in that meeting last year, they discussed a lot of things, but they didn't discuss one crucial factor, which is solar storm impact on the nuclear reactors. There are 94 operational nuclear reactors in America. Somehow they didn't touch that topic. What I did was, there are 23 nuclear reactors in India. 4 of them are in my own state. 2 of them are in my own city, just 60 kilometers from where I'm speaking. How it will impact the nuclear reactor. So when I focused on that, my God, this is something extraordinary. We are facing real trouble. A solar storm by itself can destroy the human race. Remember, the American Congress had a meeting. They invited James Woolsey, former CIA director, and I asked him, what will happen if a powerful solar storm, like the 1859 Carrington event solar storm, the biggest one to hit Earth in recorded history, in recent times? They asked him a simple question. He said, around 60 to 90% of Americans will die within a year. The most advanced country in the world, United States, there 60 to 90% will die. Then what will happen to India? Now, why did James Woolsey say that? A lot of other people also said the same thing. Why? Because our entire civilization is based on electricity, our modern civilization. The only reason why I'm speaking to you, you are recording this, you are speaking to me, everything is because of electricity. If somebody removes the oxygen from our atmosphere, all the animals and humans will die instantly. Same way, electricity is the oxygen for our civilization. The problem is, these solar storms will have great impact on our electric grids. So, I said, okay, let's go into the detail. And the good news is, even though nobody in India is doing any solar storm research, a person of Indian origin, her name is Sangeeta Jyoti, Dr. Sangeeta Jyoti from the University of California. In 2021, she published a paper about how solar storm will impact internet. She was only focusing on that. That alone, they came to the conclusion, every day, the US alone will lose $7 billion if the internet is affected. This is only for internet. What about electricity? If your power supply is affected, every day, $40 billion. That is US. What about the rest of the world? Our civilization will collapse.
So you believe that these solar storms could cause an accidental nuclear war between Pakistan and India, right?
Yes, that's it. The devil is in the detail. Okay. Previously, I was researching about UFO ignorance, UFO denial, debunking, secrecy, leading to an accidental India-Pakistan war, for which I gave a 140-page report. But this is something else, okay? Because last year, in that tabletop exercise conducted in the United States, some of the military officers said, you know something, whenever our computers start malfunctioning, we think, okay, somebody is hacked. Maybe the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans, or some guy in his house. But the problem is, even solar storm can create problems with your computer. They can cause trouble to your early warning radar system. Okay, so the more deeply I went into that, I found out there are 11 ways solar storm can lead to an accidental, unintentional India-Pakistan war, which will start as a conventional war and end up as a nuclear one. So I wrote a report on that. So this is what I wrote it in Tamil for my people and then in English also. Okay. And then let me tell you what is happening in India-Pakistan border. Okay, people should get that idea. Okay. Since 1947, India and Pakistan are having conflict over Kashmir. Okay. It's a Muslim majority state. Pakistan says it belongs to Pakistan. India says no, the king, who was a Hindu king, he has joined India. Okay, this is a legacy of the British rule. From 1948, they had a war, and then 1965, then 71, and then in 1999, they had Kargil war, a small few-day battle, and then recently, just in April, May, we had one more war, 4 days war in May. Okay, and the worst part is, since 1998, excuse me, since 1998, India and Pakistan have started building nuclear weapons. I told you, okay, they got more than 170 nuclear weapons each. So the worst part is, both of them have entered a stage, what you call MAD, mutually assured destruction. At the height of Cold War, US and Soviet Union, they had gone through the same stage. They could destroy each other. Now, India and Pakistan have reached that stage. Okay. And both of them have placed a lot of missiles, radar systems in the India-Pakistan border. Both of them have satellites, early warning satellites. Okay. Now, the problem with solar storm is they can impact everything. Anything electronic, they can impact. Because what you're basically dealing with this is electromagnetism, okay, coming from the sun, huge amount of magnetic field, and then radiation. And since we are protected by Earth's atmosphere and magnetosphere, but our satellites are a bit higher in space, they can be easily affected. So I looked at the ways. How can things go wrong? How can things go wrong? Different ways, there are 11 ways. Okay. First, India-Pakistan border. All right. They have early warning radar system. Oh. Now, what will happen if this radar system started malfunctioning? Think about that. What conclusion they will come to? People might think, okay, come on, he's letting his imagination run wild. Okay, some people may say that. But let me answer based on real incidents. In 1967, during height of Vietnam War, okay, suddenly the American early warning radar system said the Soviet Union have conducted a nuclear test. And they're going to launch attack. And then America was preparing to retaliate. At that time, some of the scientists said, no, this is not Soviet Union. This is something that came from the sun. At the last minute, they stopped it. Only then they started focusing. Okay, so let's see what the sun is doing. This is 1967. So what happened was in 2003, what we call during the Halloween time, Halloween storm, a group of solar storms impacted Earth. During that time, you know what the Americans did? They shut down all their early warning radar system. Okay, they disconnected it from the main power line. Instead, they connected it to generators. The reason they gave was because these solar storms, once they impact Earth's magnetic field, they will create a huge amount of current, geomagnetically induced current. Okay, this current will cause problems in our early warning radar system. They might give us wrong idea that Russia has launched a missile or China, North Korea or Iran. So we don't want to take that risk. This is what the Americans said in 2003. Okay, so they simply switched off from main source to generators to protect. Okay. Now, do the Indian and Pakistani military officers have any idea? No idea whatsoever. Okay, so just imagine if their early warning radar system gives such a signal, the first thing they will say is, yes, Pakistan is going to attack India. Or Pakistanis will think India is going to attack Pakistan. You know one thing, geography is not a friend of India and Pakistan. Yeah, see, Washington, Moscow, you know the distance, almost 8,000 kilometers. Even if they launch ICBM, it will take 30 minutes. The Americans will have 20 minutes early warning time. In that 20 minutes, the president can pick up the phone. He can call the Russian president or the Chinese. He can ask, he can do something, right? India and Pakistan. The distance between Pakistan border and New Delhi is just 410 kilometers. If a missile takes off, within 5 minutes it will hit Delhi. And by the time our radar system identify and give the message, it will take 3 minutes. So our Indian Prime Minister will have just 2 minutes. What do you think he's going to do with 2 minutes? Huh? He can't even go to his nuclear bunker. The same thing applies to Pakistan Prime Minister also. Okay, you see the point here. So early warning system between India and Pakistan is a joke. We don't have the distance. So they have to take it seriously. Okay, and one more thing. Next, what happens if your computer suddenly shut down? Before launching an attack, you try to attack the opponent's internet system, early warning computers through cyber attack. But last year in the tabletop exercise, the American officials said, now we realize that even solar storm can impact our computers. And it may appear like a cyber attack. You see, the beauty of cyber attack is it is very, very difficult to find out who did it. Okay? We can't. It's very difficult. It will take time to actually identify the source of cyber attack. But the problem here is even the sun can do that. So this is the second problem. Then the third one is very important. Military satellites. Okay? Since our satellites are in space, they are more susceptible to solar storm attack. And 2003, during the powerful solar storm, America lost 4 Navy spy satellites. Okay? In 2022, Elon Musk launched around 41 satellites. He lost 39. He lost 39. Millions of dollars gone. That is not enough. There is something else the solar storm is capable of doing. They can move our satellites. Okay? In 2012 and 2024, that is last year, they simply moved hundreds of satellites from their orbit. Every satellite has got a place. Okay? They are fixed. What happened was these satellites were moved almost 180 meters per day. Now, if they move, they may go and hit other satellites, and then they will break into 1,000 pieces. And it will be a cascading, a domino effect. They lost control. Just think about it. India and Pakistan are watching each other. Okay? As I told you, the Sindoor war in May, this did not come to an end with a peace deal, like what we signed in Gaza, right? Gaza and Israel and Palestine. They are temporarily stopped it. And both these government are saying the war may continue. Worse than that, the army generals of India and Pakistan, they are openly saying, if anything happens, we will wipe you out from the face of earth. They're saying that. And they have the capacity to do that. India can wipe out Pakistan. Pakistan can wipe out India. This is the reality.
What should India and Pakistan do to prevent a nuclear exchange due to a solar storm?
That's a nice question. You know, last year, after this tabletop exercise, the 35 agencies of US government, everyone said the same thing. Our biggest problem is not solar storm, but solar storm ignorance. People are not aware of it. We have to create awareness. Okay? The first thing is the Indian and Pakistani leaders, they must sit. They must tell, look, we have a problem. Since 1947, we have fought 5 wars. You have nuclear weapons, we have nuclear weapons. Okay. Apart from that, there is a third player. The player is sun. The sun can also cause a lot of trouble. The 11 different ways it can cause trouble. So do not come to any conclusion if something wrong goes on. In 1971, at the height of Cold War, the Soviet Union and the United States, they signed a peace treaty. How to avoid an accidental nuclear war between Soviet Union and United States. And in that treaty, the third clause was very, very interesting because it said, if anything unidentified object interacts with your early warning radar or your communication system or your missile system, okay, do not come to the conclusion that it is us. Give us a call. Try to find out. And then after that, both of them set up a red color telephone. This red telephone is only for dealing with situations like this. That is exactly what India and Pakistani leaders must do. It is easy to threaten, I will wipe you out from the map. Yeah, you can wipe out, they will wipe you out. And the worst part, you know what? If India attacks Pakistan, China will directly attack India. You know why? Because right now, there are more than 60,000 Chinese civilians and military officers working in Pakistan. They have invested more than $60 billion in a series of projects called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor projects. Okay? Now, if India wipes out Pakistan, India will have to kill Chinese there. And China will attack India because they do have no first use policy, no first use. But like India, they have said, if anybody attacks us with nuclear weapons directly or indirectly by affecting our economic situation, economic interest, okay, then we will retaliate. Now you see the problem here. This is not going to be an India-Pakistan war. This is going to be an India-Pakistan-China war. And India and Pakistan have atom bombs, whereas China has got hydrogen bombs, thermonuclear weapons, with a capacity of 1,000 or 500 or 2,000 megatons. Okay, this is that level. India has got 10, 15, 50 kilotons. They got megaton range. So this is the situation here. It is very, very important that they pick up the phone, they talk to each other. And let me tell you something. See, these are political leaders. You can't blame them. They didn't study science. It is our scientists from ISRO and the IITs. There are 23 IITs in India. Then you got ISRO. Together, they are given $5 billion. More than 30,000 scientists are working there. They are the ones who must take this information to the political leaders. Okay? But unfortunately, in spite of me writing repeatedly to them, they're not doing it. So that is why My request is the Indian American community, senators, congressmen, they are powerful senators and congressmen, Indian origin. They have roots in India, relatives in India, people like Sundar Pichai, Kamala Harris. You must talk to the government. You must tell them. And the man who can do the best thing here is President Donald Trump. Let me tell you something. I'm not exaggerating. By a single tweet, Trump can save the lives of hundreds of millions of people in India and Pakistan. Single tweet. That's all. Hey, leaders, there is something called solar storm. It can affect your missiles, your early warning radar system, your surveillance satellites, your communication satellites, your internet, your nuclear reactors. Okay? So take precaution. Just one single tweet from Trump will save millions of people here. You see, he says he had played a role in preventing an India-Pakistan war, stopping the war that happened in May. Okay? Pakistani said yes. Indians are saying, no, Trump did not play a role. This is because of local political compulsion. Forget it. America has always played a role in India-Pakistan affairs, especially after the 1998 test, in 1999 Kargil war, in 2001 after the Pakistani terrorists attacked the Indian parliament, 2008 they attacked Mumbai and killed 168 people. All this time Americans have involved because you cannot allow India and Pakistan go to war, all-out war, because it will lead to nuclear weapon exchange. It will destroy the human race, not just India and Pakistan. It will unleash nuclear winter. Already our climate is very volatile. Global warming, climate change. That will be nothing. That will be a picnic compared to nuclear winter. So if Trump can do that, all he has to do is pick up the phone, not even phone, just one tweet to the Prime Minister of Pakistan and India, and then they will take interest because it comes from the most powerful man. Believe me, not this year. This year they didn't give him a Nobel Prize, okay? But this is not the end. Next year, they will consider him because this is a serious issue. Last year, Biden had the opportunity to become a real world leader. I don't know why he didn't participate in that. He sent some officials from White House. He should have participated in that solar storm tabletop exercise. Because you see, when American president says something, the entire world, especially all the world leaders will watch it. Correct? They will take notice. That is the power, okay, of POTUS. That is why. If Trump does this, if you can, or through your viewers, if anybody can take this, one tweet, we can prevent a possible future war. And one more thing, forget nuclear weapons. Even without nuclear weapons, a solar superstorm is coming. It can wipe out the human race. In 2012, we narrowly missed. How many people know this? Do you remember in 2012, according to the Mayan calendar, the human civilization is going to end? Nothing happened. And then the only thing that happened was they made a movie called 2012. Okay? But the fact is, in 2012, July, a very powerful solar storm came towards Earth, equivalent to the Carrington of 1859. Okay? Very powerful. It missed Earth by just a week, a few days. If that solar storm had hit Earth in 2012, we would have gone back 200 years. 99% of humans would have died. So the Mayans were almost correct. Okay? Mayans were almost right. Something happened in 2012. Now it is far more worse. From what people are saying, not only scientists, even contactees like your friend Kelly or Dolly, they are saying the same thing. Okay, that is why it is very, very important people create awareness. In this matter, President Trump can actually save the human race, not just Indians and Pakistanis. Americans, the entire human race. People will take notice of it.
What is India's most famous UFO case?
There have been UFO sightings all over India. Okay, 1951, a UFO flew over Delhi. Okay, and then in 1977, near the India-Pakistan border, a UFO came, a red color UFO, and immediately the Indians sent two fighter jets. What happened? The moment they went near, they were thinking it is Pakistani Air Force jets. This is 1976. But the moment they went near, immediately the UFO went there at extremely high speed. And the pilot said, this is not a fighter jet, this is something else. In 1977, it happened. The Indian Air Force transport plane was going. 3 UFOs came, they were circling it. As the pilot said, it is as if they are inspecting us, and then they left. And then in 2023, Manipur, they shut down Manipur International Airport for 3 hours from 2:30 to 5:30. You know why this is important? Because the same thing is happening in Denmark. Right now, it is happening in Denmark, Sweden, Germany. They are shutting down airports. Simple. They will appear over the runway. Then you have no other choice. You have to shut down the airport. So this happened in 2023, November in Manipur. But in my opinion, in 2021, December and June, 2 UFO incidents happened near the India-Pakistan border. One in Punjab, okay, and another is Gujarat. And the beauty is, in these 2 places, there were military bases, Air Force base. These are Air Force base, okay, Bhuj Air Force base, and then Pathankot. All three bases, India might, the possibility is high, India is storing nuclear weapons. Okay? So, they have come there, they are standing there, they are switching on the lights, people are taking photos and videos, and they are going. This is because these UFOs wanted to reveal themselves. So this is a very serious, this is India-Pakistan border. That is why I am very particular about this issue. And then in my own state, I am in Chennai, but in the southern districts, we got this ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, Rocket Fuel Propulsion Center. It's a huge area. That in 2015, December and 2019, June, in the night, UFOs came. Repeatedly they came, they were going around it. As usual, our people tried to chase them. No, they could not. Okay, they went back. These are the 2 incidents that happened. So there are some serious incidents going on.
Do many people in India believe in UFOs?
Yes. The younger generation, yes. Because there was a survey taken by some American university or something. In the internet, UFOs and aliens are the second most popular subject in India also. Lot of youngsters from, let's say, 6 years, 7 years, they are talking about UFOs and aliens. And I'm very proud to say, in my state, in the school textbook for 3rd standard and 4th grade students, there are lessons involving aliens and UFOs. Positive way. Okay? There are lessons. Fact is, the reason is very simple. Right from kindergarten, they are seeing aliens and UFOs. How? Through cartoons. They are seeing it through cartoons. They are familiar. Maybe they don't get the exact picture, but they are familiar with this. From the response that I am getting, I conduct a 6-month online course in ufology, basic ufology, in English and Tamil. So many people from 5th grade or 6th grade students, they join. That shows they're interested. Okay, they're very much interested in this. And I have written a book for school students, an introduction, which I given to the government. I hope they will release it. Okay. So in India, it is a very, very popular subject, except people don't know who to approach, where to get the information. If they speak Tamil, they can understand. If they speak English, they can see some of my English videos. But other than that, there is nobody putting videos in Hindi or any other language. That is the only thing. But once that is taken care of, millions of people will report UFO sightings. Believe me.
What is your YouTube channel called?
My YouTube channel is UFO Sabir.
UFO Sabir. Well, Sabir, before we finish, can you give us a last positive message?
Yeah. First, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I can speak to millions of your viewers, especially people in the United States. Okay. Some of them might be connected to senators and congressmen. Some of them might be of India.
Sabir, thank you for joining and being my guest.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Vanakkam.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.